Thank you for listening to Depictions Media Radio. Welcome back, everybody. I'm here today with Dr. Birgitte Tan, who is a global speaker, international best-selling author, a certified grief and success consultant, a veterinarian oncologist. That sounds interesting. Her specialty is helping people thrive through tough times and win with more ease and fun. So I'm going to let Birgitte, I'm going to let you describe yourself as a coach and how the speaking, the best-selling author, and grief and veterinary oncologist, how does that all come together? So I'll let you describe yourself from there.
Oh, absolutely. How it comes together? Well, so what? As an oncologist, I learned to help people with grief for a good long while. I've been doing this for close to 20 years. And, I'm yet to know a single person to hear the word cancer or got diagnosis of cancer and said, yeah, I got cancer. That doesn't happen. Cancer and grief is practically, paternal twin is what I call it. And so that's with that. And then life happened in 2011 to me. It started with a divorce, seemingly to me out of the blue divorce, and then from there it in the next 2 years it opened a Pandora box of 9 other different grief events. At the end of that 2 years, I wish I could die. I really wish I could die, but I didn't die. And after a little time, I said, well, if I have to stay alive, I'm going to thrive. Not just survive, and I'm going to thrive and do that somehow with easily, effortlessly, and doing that with fun. And so I started my own personal journey into grief recovery and life transformations. And fast forward just a couple years, in a matter of a couple years, I realized that I went from heartbroken, sick all the time, miserable all the time, and to being able to live a wonderful, thriving life of peace of mind and joy and love and abundance and better than ever health. And that's when I realized that I have learned and mastered the skill of transforming adversity, regardless of how long the adversity's been, into thriving, joyful living, to transform our tragedies and tears into treasures, and doing that also with ease and fun.
That seems to be the definite theme of your work is thrive with ease and fun. So so you have some tips for us today to help us do that, right?
Yes, I do. I definitely do have some tips to help us to be able to transform our tough times, regardless of the reasons you're having a tough times. To do that, to transform that into a lifelong treasures, and doing that with more ease and more fun.
Yay. I like the idea of ease and fun. But I do have a question about that, though.
Yeah.
The ease and the fun part, does that take some sort of a mindset transformation where you have to flip things around in your head so that you find that more ease and fun?
Yeah, it is something that, it definitely take a little bit of mindset transformations. It also take a decisions. It take a decisions that you are going, you can create fun in daily life. A lot of time people, they have to go to the to the beach. We were talking about the beach just now, Michael. They have to go to the beach, or they have to go to a concert or something. But you can actually create fun in daily life, in the little things. I have 5 tips that all go together that allow us to transform our effortlessly thrive through tough times. And one of them is using, and it's actually, I streamline that and make it simplify that, such that it's something that, when something's streamlined and simplified, it's easier to understand, to remember, and to apply. And one of them, and it uses our 5 fingers. If you look at your fingers, there's 5 fingers. You can apply each of them to your fingers, and such that it make it easy to remember and apply. And with our little fingers, it's the little things. We can look at all the little things in our life and have fun with all the little things. Create fun with all the little things in our life, and such that you can actually, if we really think about it, you can have fun as you watch dishes, for instance. You can put on some fun music and dance as you watch dishes, or you could be vacuuming the house, and turn on some dance music, and there you go. You can have a dance partner called your vacuum. and you can be having fun, and fun doesn't always have to be going to a concert. Who wants to go to a concert? To go to concert right now with COVID-19, right? And so you can create fun. Celebrate the little things in our life. A lot of time people wait for a big thing to happen to celebrate, but if you are having a tough time, then celebrate that day you actually get out of that. There are times when I was having a tough time. There are times when I didn't even want to get out of bed, and someday I couldn't even get myself to get out of bed. And so the day that you can actually just get out of bed without, too much trauma, we want to celebrate. We want to celebrate the baby steps of things that we created in our life, to celebrate the baby accomplishments, all the little things in our life. Celebrate, looking at we can have fun and celebrate if let's say you have a house plant and the plant have a new flower, we can celebrate the new flower and enjoy and appreciate the little things. So the one of the tips is to pay attention to the little things. And celebrate the little things, celebrate the little steps that we're able to take. Let's say we know that, we need to call somebody to ask for help, and we did call somebody, then we celebrate that little step because we know that even baby steps, even if we have to crawl out of bed, to take the baby steps, we know that, one little crawl at a time will take us up to Mount Everest, will take us out of our dark nights, our dark valley. And so we can have fun, and we can have fun doing that. We can say, yes, today I get out of bed. Yes, today I make the phone call. And yes, today I actually sing in the shower and have fun doing that.
Yeah, I like your comparison or likeness to climbing Mount Everest, because the one thing that everybody who's ever climbed a mountain had to do, the first thing they had to do was get out of bed, right? So why not celebrate that? Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, you don't leap from the bottom to the top of Mount Everest, and it's and in the little thing it's in the little things that a lot of time we can find fun, enjoy. And if you think about it, if you ever look like a really precious gem or something like diamonds or gem, those usually come in small size. They don't come in the size of a brick, right? So we know how precious the little things are.
Yeah, that's very, very true. Yeah. So, what would the next step be?
So we actually so that was actually the little fingers, and then the other step that I have is the first one is to have so we're going from the little fingers, we're going back to the thumb here, and then the other step is to actually have a 2 thumbs up attitude. So I call it the 2 thumbs up with tears. And what it is we want to if we're having tough times, we're having challenging times, we definitely want to acknowledge that we are going through tough times. We want to acknowledge the problem, and we want to definitely be fully aware about that. We're not in denial, but at the same time, we can decide and choose to have a 2 thumbs up attitude and 2 thumbs up outcome. Whatever happening, like let's say, it's COVID-19 and impacting your life in one way or the other, without dismissing, we're not being dismissive, without dismissing the circumstance, without dismissing our feelings or anything, then we can say, this is sucks right now, whatever going on, but I'm going to do what I can such that I have a 2 thumbs up outcome. So have a 2 thumbs up outcome. There is a term called chosen optimism. And it's a little different than just being optimistic, because sometimes an optimist can just say, okay, everything's just going to be rosy, and forget, we forgot to look at where, sometimes we're so busy looking out there to the rosy thing, we forgot of what we can do right here, right now that needs to be improved. But chosen optimism is actually, we look and say, okay, this needs improvement, this needs change, and this can be improved. And at the same time, so we have circumstance, but we're not allowing circumstance to have us. We can have circumstance without allowing circumstance to have us, and we choose to say, okay, the glass can be, there is water halfway through the glass, and we can say that the glass is half empty, but you might even have a glass filled halfway with murky water, right? But an optimism is to say, okay, there is a glass filled halfway with murky water. I'm not saying the glass half empty or half full or whatever, it's just the fact. There is a glass filled halfway with murky water, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to be an optimist. I'm going to choose for a 2 thumbs up outcome. So I'm going to go get sparkling water, or perhaps you want to go get white wine or whatever that your favorite beverage would be, and fill it up and keep filling it such that it replaces all the murky water with whatever that you would love. And so that's the first that's one of the other steps is having a 2 thumbs up outcome attitude, while even as we have tears running in our face. And so that's the thumb, and then the next finger is the pointer finger, right?
Right.
And with the pointer finger, we want to use the pointer finger for actions. I say you want to use your pointer finger to point outward, like when we point at something, but also to point inward. We want to take action. Not just outward actions. Let's say, if it is a business, then, what can we do? Perhaps applying for forgiveness, if, it's being impacted by circumstance, perhaps applying for extra loan or what have you. But also take an inward action, point outward and point inward. And what is point inward? Point inward is self-care. Point inward is reflection. Point inward is allowing ourselves to rest. So we want to take actions. We want to point with our finger. This is what we're going to do. We want to point outward and take the actions, but not just keep doing and forget to take care of ourselves. We want to actually take care of ourselves as well. And so that's the second finger, and then the pointer finger, and then we got to the fun finger, the middle finger.
Okay.
And the middle finger. I promise I'm not going to wave my middle finger at you. This is a radio anyway. So, but the middle finger is to allow. For me, the middle finger is to remind me to allow. And to allow what? To allow our feelings. To allow our feelings. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist, says that an abnormal behavior to an abnormal situation is a normal reaction. A lot of times we feel, oh God, why am I reacting like this? Or why am I doing this and all these things? Just know that if something happened and you are doing things, thinking things, saying things that's not normal for you, that's a very normal reaction. It's a very normal thing for us to grieve, to be sad, to be upset, to cry, to be angry when something that we would really, really love not happening, or something happen and we something really undesirable happens. It's a normal behavior. It's actually normal for us. It's I mentioned my background is in oncology. It will be really, really strange for me if somebody coming in and saying, "Yeah, I got cancer." That will be a strange thing. What normal is, oh my God, I got cancer. I'm losing this. That's a normal behavior. So if something happened out there that's out of our norm, grief by definition is any changes in our normal routine that cause conflicting feeling in us. So allow ourselves to be normal. Allow ourselves to feel the anger, the sadness, and all the unpleasant, the feelings that we feel. Feelings is not right or wrong. Feelings are just feelings. If you feelings to me, and allow your feelings to change from time to time. Different situation, you have different feelings. If sometimes even the same situation, you have different feelings. That's normal. That's perfectly normal. We know, feelings are like fingerprints. If you ever look at your fingerprints, we know that different people has different fingerprints.
Right.
But if you ever really look closely at your fingers, all the fingers, each of them have different prints.
Yeah.
And that's basically tell that you are the same person, but different situations, you can have different feelings, and that's just normal. So allow ourselves to be normal. And then the other part of the allow, is to allow, because we're talking about fingers, to allow the F word.
Yeah, it's a valid
do you know,
word.
Do you know what the do you know what the F word stands for? It's not what you think it is. So the F word stands. The F word, it will be kids appropriate, I promise. The F word stands for fabulous. The F word stands for fabulous.
Here we go.
And so one thing that I say one thing that I used to say when I was having a lot of tough times, and also this works very well if you're having a tough times with somebody else that just seems to just want to create roadblock in your life or something, and we can say, well, you know what? I am fabulous. I am fabulous. You can have whatever problems you have, but I am staying fabulous and becoming more and more fabulous.
That's
and we
a
can
great way
even
to see it.
Yeah, and if you want to, you can even raise your middle finger as you say it, wave it to the other person without getting in trouble, of course. But you can say, I'm fabulous. You have problems, and you can say F you if you need to. But I'm fabulous, and you have problem, but I'm becoming more and more fabulous. So That's the third one, is to allow, and also to allow help, to allow support, and to ask for support and to ask for help. Is for the middle finger. And then the other one, the last one of the 5 things actually is to have for our fourth finger, is to have forward fortitude with gratitude. And so what does forward fortitude with gratitude mean? I know it's a mouthful. So fortitude, if we look up in the dictionary, fortitude means courage during pain or adversity. Fortitude means having courage while having adversity or pain. And forward fortitude, as I mentioned actually in my book Seeking Peace, forward fortitude is choosing to continue taking one step forward despite all the adversities, and doing that with the best attitude we can. And forward fortitude is not faking it. It's not saying, oh yeah, I'm going to pretend everything's fine and keep going. It's not that. It's not denying our circumstance, but it is basically a chosen optimism, as we discussed the first one for the tongue, chosen optimism and combining it with action, and also have with gratitude. Now, sometimes, for some people say, okay, I'm in such, I'm deep in the hole here. What am I going to be grateful for? Well, if we really look around, if you have clothing on your body, then we can be grateful that we have clothing on our body. There were times in my life I was not grateful that I was alive. So, some of us, we were not always grateful that we are alive, depending on what's going on. But, at least we can be grateful that, well, we have clothing on our body. Nowadays, with the coronavirus going on in the world, the fact that if we are able to breathe without a machine is something that we can be grateful for. And so that there is always something that we can be grateful, and to take one baby step back to the little things and the little fingers. Take one little step, even if we have to crawl. Take one little crawl forward, despite of all the adversity. Doing it with the best attitude we can, and just keep taking the step, and knowing that we do the very best we can, and we are endeavoring in all these things. This is something that we want to endeavor. We want to do the best we can, but we're not asking for perfection at all. Some days, we can do everything, and we're like, oh yeah, this is a wonderful day where I can, I can have a 2 thumbs up even though I'm having a tough time, and I can act, and I can allow things, I can ask for help that will be really helpful as we start taking steps, taking actions. And some days we cannot even look at our thumb, never mind having a 2 thumbs up outcome attitude. And that's okay. That's back to allowing ourselves. We want to allow ourselves whatever it is. If we need to cry, we'll allow ourselves to cry. One thing that I do through my experience is to cry. When I have a significant loss, I will just sit at home and cry anywhere from 1 to 3 days. I just keep crying and cry. And so I'm done crying. And that's, that might be what works with you. And that might be, do it on every weekend or something. But we want to endeavor doing things and not try to be perfect.
Yeah. I like what you're saying about the crying. It doesn't necessarily have to be crying, but we have to allow the emotion out of us, and we have to acknowledge that emotion. Is what I really got out of that, right?
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to cry if you're not the kind of person that cries. And there is actually the studies show there are physiologic biologic benefit from crying when we're having a tough time. That's why our body actually has 3 different types of tears. We have the basal tears, the reflex tears, which is mostly water, and then we have what the scientists call the emotional tears. And the emotional tears has very different content than the basal and the reflex tears. It's a lot thicker, and it's contain a bunch of hormones that's designed for us to be able to tolerate pain better, as well as to be able to feel good. It contains prolactin, corticosteroid hormone, and oxytocin, which is the feel-good hormone.
Yes.
So we actually, even our body know, and so it doesn't, we're not saying that you have to cry, but if you feel that you can possibly benefit from crying, we want to allow that. And crying does not mean weakness at all. Sometimes people have the stigma of, if we're feeling grief, then we are being weak, and if we cry, then it is weakness. Particularly not being discriminative, but a lot of time with gentlemen even more than women, they're like, make sure I don't cry because I might be seen as weakness. But actually, to cry is to be courageous.
Yeah, I think that is something that for all the guys listening out there that goes lost. That we miss that message that to cry is to be courageous, and courageous in acknowledging our feelings, our emotions, and what our bodies need. Right?
Exactly. If you think about it, if you cry, it can make you be vulnerable. And for anyone who is who knows and to have the wisdom to say, yes, I know I can be vulnerable, but I will be willing to be vulnerable and cry for things to get better in myself, with myself and with all the circumstances. That takes a lot of courage to do. So to cry is to be courageous.
Yeah. So, tell us more about your books while we have the time.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. So the book is called Seeking Peace: The Proven 5 Fingers Method to Thrive Through Change Effortlessly, and it's basically uses the 5 fingers method that I just shared in a lot more detail and with more information than I can share in the time that we have in here. But it is basically how to be able to thrive through changes, through tough times, through grief, and doing that in an effortless way. It's basically there's a lot of information out there on how to move on and how to thrive, and through my own experience, as well as once I recover from my own tragedies back then, I become very interested in this, and so I put an in-depth learning. I become a certified grief recovery coach, as well as certified life mastery consultant, so I can learn this even better, and I put all the information, and sometimes we can feel like we have information overload with personal development and self-help nowadays, and I basically put all the information, streamline them, and simplify them such that it's something that's easy to swallow and digest, so to say. It's easy to remember and to apply, and I correlate each of the main tools, the main mental tools and skill to one of our fingers, so that it's easier for anyone to remember, and when we can remember it is when we can apply, and then we can use it to improve ourselves or even help somebody else's if we know someone else is having a tough time, to help them as well.
Yeah. So, and your book, of course, it can be found on Amazon. And
yes.
we'll put the link to the book on our blog post.
Thank you. Yeah, the book can be found on Amazon, or you can go directly to the book website, which is Seeking Peace Book.
Seeking Peace, yes.
SeekingPeaceBook.com.
Seeking Peace Book. Got it.
Yeah.
Make sure we get these things exactly right. And you also have a website for your coaching and everything too, right?
Yes, the website, you can also find me on my website. It's called From Grieving to Joyful Living.
Now, yeah. The reason I wait later on in the interview to actually bringing up the website, but it's the name of your website, the domain name is very interesting, and it seems very purposeful. Is it, or did you just luck out and get that particular domain name?
No, that is that the website. I bought that domain because that is my service is all the different services that I have, the speaking, the coaching, the book, all of them are under From Grieving to Joyful Living, which is exactly what I do, is to help you transform your tears into treasures.
Mm-hmm. So again, leading back to, of course, our thrive with ease and fun, because we have the treasure.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And not just after you have the treasure, but doing that with ease and fun. One of the way that I help people with that is I have a program called Dance Away Sadness, Move Beyond Your Grief. So that one uses freestyle dancing. So you dance to your heart, and do that to help us be in touch and release the part of grief that words cannot touch. And it's something that works very, very well, whether the grief is very recent, or it's actually also works, to my surprise, actually, at the beginning, for grief that's been buried for a long time. It seems to, you have something happen when you were younger and traumatize you. Sometimes it's in your subconscious, even for the last 30, 40 years, and then so a sadness move beyond your grief allow us to be able to be in touch with that and to release that, and doing that easily and with fun.
Yeah. So I like what you're saying about the dancing and the release of grief. So is movement extremely important in dealing with grief?
Movement is actually very important in dealing in helping us move through and beyond grief. Some of us has heard the name Dr. Joe Dispenza. And Dr. Dispenza says, and this is very true. If we are reading something or listening to something, say a message, or we read a book, a lot of time it gets to our mind, and that's it. But if we have an impactful experience, whatever the impactful experience is, and grief tend to come from impactful experience, it gets to us to the cellular level. And so the cells vibrate a little differently. And so when we move, and it could be in any way that you move, but when you move, you kind of almost change the vibrations of the cells and help things that stuck in the cells that you want to release to get out. And the movement in that case, and particularly movement combined with music, because if you ever listen to music, you can hear they vibrate at a different vibration. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if you are a very sensitive person, certain music can even influence your heart rate and things like that because of the vibrations. And so when you combine the movement, when you do movement, particularly if you combine movement with music, it's the vibrations and the movement. It's actually allow ourselves to vibrate in a different way, and therefore be able to release what it is that we need to release.
Very cool. A lot of science to that. Yeah. Okay. So we are starting to run out of time. So why don't we go through one more time the best ways to reach you so that we can work with you and move from grieving to joyful living.
Yes. Yeah. So the best way to reach me is you can go to to my website, fromgrievingtojoyfulliving.com. You can find my information there. You can also directly email me, support@birgittetan.com. That will be another way. Call me. It's a United States number, so the country code 1, area code 805-864-2002. And you can, if you want to find Seeking Peace, it's on Amazon or on seekingpeacebook.com.
Cool. Thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you everybody out there for listening. Hook up with Birgitte and learn the proven 5-finger method to thrive, and I'm sure that I'm just gonna go through a couple things because everything you use it's so cool. And learn to go from grieving to joyful living, because we all at some point find grief hitting our lives. So yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much. It's my great pleasure to be able to contribute today. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, and bye for now. This show has been produced by Depictions Media. Please contact us at depictions.media for more information.